So fasting, is it the magical cure to binge eating? Well, let's find out. My name is Jonathan, I'm a dietitian that supports people who are struggling with binge eating. And one of the most common questions I get is fasting one of the best ways to overcome binge eating? Because I've seen so many people, even on Reddit, subreddits of binge eating, and people in the comments saying, oh, I've tried fasting and it helped me curb my appetite. But ultimately, it's not solving the root problem. So let's talk about binge eating. Binge eating, it shouldn't be seen as a problem that you should solve. Oh, I need to push binge eating to the side. It's because I'm lazy or anything. It's not laziness. It's not a problem. But what binge eating is, it's a symptom. And you need to see every time that you have a binge eating episode, or every time you think about binge eating, that it's a symptom. It's nothing wrong with you. Binge eating is a survival mechanism. So what happens when you get the urge to pee, but you couldn't find the toilet? Well, if you can't find anywhere to go, then you'll wet yourself. If you're freezing cold and you don't cover yourself, then you're gonna shiver. If you eat as little calories as possible or deprive yourself from certain foods, like, oh, no chocolates, no this, have any food rules, anything that leads to mental, physical, or emotional deprivation, you can check these in this video here where I can talk about the main triggers of binge eating, then you're going to binge eat. So what we need to do is to overcome those triggers. So you need to eliminate those triggers, because ultimately, whatever diet you're on, and fasting essentially is a diet because it's not actually listening to your hunger cues. You're going against what your body really needs. Even though you say, oh, I don't really feel hungry for breakfast, well, our body, even though it doesn't feel hungry for breakfast, its hunger hormones are going to re-regulate. So it might reduce its ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone, in the morning, but it has to have a baseline. So in the lunchtime or during dinner time, it's gonna massively upregulate. It's gonna have some form of balance. So if you were to have, let's say, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it would increase a little bit and then decrease, and then increase for lunch, decrease, and then increase ghrelin for dinner. But if you're going to fast, let's say you skip breakfast, maybe you skip lunch, ghrelin is going to be low, hunger hormones, probably low for lunchtime, and then the evening times, it has to find some form of stability, so homeostasis. So it's gonna upregulate ghrelin as much as possible, the hunger hormone, in the evening, making you much more likely to binge eat and more likely to overeat on highly palatable foods which are high in fats, carbs. You're going to be in a massive surplus. And then leptin is going to be much, much lower. So leptin is the fullness hormone. So when ghrelin goes up, leptin usually just goes lower whenever you start to eat foods. So if you want to learn how to take your first steps to overcome binge eating once and for all, check the link in the description, because I have my course called the Binge Eating Blueprint, which covers everything from the massive triggers to binge eating, what you should eat, when you should eat, and how you should eat, and how you should feel after each meals, and how to overcome binge eating, what to do before a binge eating urge, what to do after a binge eating episode, how you can eliminate all those triggers so you can just enjoy life. And maybe if you want to go on a diet, then you can go on a diet if you want. Or maybe you just want to eliminate binge eating and just get on with your life. Whatever it is, if you can eliminate all of those, then you're on the perfect track to overcoming binge eating. So getting straight to the video, fasting, there's nothing magical about it. Everyone's gonna be talking about people who push fasting. They often say, oh yeah, it's because when you're overcoming cravings, then that's how you eliminate binge eating. And the best way to overcome cravings is fasting or autophagy, or they'll talk about insulin and cravings, all those little things. But ultimately, as a dietitian, there's nothing magical about fasting. People lose weight if they don't struggle with binge eating, as a little caveat. They'll lose weight because they're just eating less meals, depending on their meals. If they're eating high in fiber foods, fiber, carbs, protein, and fats, balanced meals during their feeding times, then they're much, much less likely to overeat, much, much less likely to binge eat, because you're just having less times to eat. And having less times to eat is less likely for you to be in a caloric surplus. But what I'm trying to say is, you can go on any fasting or on any diet you want, but remember that unless you tackle the root cause of binge eating, it's always going to lead you to struggle with binge eating, whatever diet you jump onto. Whatever diet, it's not the diet, it's not you, it's your body fighting against you because you're depriving yourself some way or another. So make sure you try to tackle the root cause of binge eating before you jump onto any diet, any fast, or whatever you wish to do, any changes to your diet. So that's why 95% of diets fail, because binge eating massively contributes to this. And if you want to learn how to overcome the root causes of binge eating, then I highly recommend you jumping straight to this video. And if you found this video helpful, then comment below, like, have you been on any fasts and what were your experiences? Because everyone has an individual experience. And I'll see you in that video over there. See ya!